I gave my Discord server one day to make me custom block palettes, and what they came up with was nothing short of terrifying. A few months ago, I managed to turn half of these 10 atrocious block palettes into 5 separate builds of varying quality and complexity. And it was fun, don't get me wrong, we had some bangers. And some not bangers. But with the remaining palettes, we're not just making 5 disconnected builds, we're smushing them into one giant project. Welcome to my creative testing world. This is a fresh world I made for 1.21, so there's not much here other than the Waffle House, but it's where I've been playing around with the 5 remaining block palettes. And like you saw in the intro, I've smushed them all together, tried my best to make something vaguely coherent out of them, and I've created this. It's certainly not a good block palette, but compared to the monstrosities over there, I think this will serve me a little bit better. I've done my best to group the colors into, the oranges and the reds and the browns and the grays and the greens and all that other miscellaneous crap in the middle. And then the hard part from there was like coming up with ideas, right? Like I've got the most wacky disconnected group of items right here. How do I turn this into a coherent build? I sat around and I thought, and I procrastinated starting this video for a long time, but I eventually came up with these right here. And from this, I want to make a massive custom biome fantasy landscape. And you can see behind me some of my thought processes for what I want to actually turn these little bits of blocks into. Some of them are a little work in progress, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, this is what's been like bouncing around in my brain for the past 4 days. Let's just go make a brand new Minecraft world and see what we can find. Brand new world, crazy landscape in mind. Let's see what we got here. And we're in a birch forest, which is of course not a bad thing. A big fan of birch forest, but in order to properly start on this build, I want to find like a valley of some kind, like a big ravine valley. All this flat terrain is not going to cut it. Tiniest cherry grove biome in the world. I like this mountain here, but it needs something on the other side. I like this terrain shape quite a lot. I mean, we got these really steep like cliff faces and stuff around the side here. That's quite cool. Yep, okay, I see the vision. I see it. I'm locking in. We're going with this bit of land right here. I do want this to be a proper peninsula though, so we're gonna have to smush down this terrain, which is of course easy enough to do with the Axiom mod. This mod just makes everything so ridiculously easy. So if you're not using this for your builds already, you just gotta bite the bullet, man. It's so much of a time save. Okay, much better. It's all still vanilla terrain, but now we can properly get started. And so I got to work, sculpting the terrain, adding in cool geometry. You can see the kind of vibe I'm going for here with like the steep rocky cliffs and these flat mossy sections. I think it looks really cool. And of course, I'm using Axiom here. Honestly, having a blast turning this vanilla terrain into this really sick like custom biome basically. And of course, I'm doing the outer cliff walls too. Now you might be thinking at this point, wow, Leon, you're kind of cheating by doing one big build instead of 5 smaller ones. And well, yeah, it is a bit easier, but those 5 builds were kind of just, throwaway nonsense. Like, I'm not gonna be thinking about any of those builds a year from now. This is big, this is the real deal. And yeah, I've got more blocks, but I'm still really limited in my block options. Like, I'd love to put grass on these mossy outcroppings, but I can't. And I've still gotta find something to do with this, and this, and this, and yeah, it's still gonna be rough. A few hours of terraforming later, and we've got this pretty okay looking start. I mean, it's certainly a little bit more interesting than the vanilla terrain. I do really like these flat plateaus and whatnot on both edges, especially on the sheer rocky cliff face on this side. But yes, I know, it's 2 blocks. It's stone and moss, and we're not even allowed to use stone, so all of this is gonna have to change. And what I'm trying to say, guys, is that it's a blank canvas. It's a start. It's a beginning of something. So I know it doesn't look great right now, but bear with me because we've still got a lot of work to do on this, and I have faith. There's still so much left that we need to do here. Like texturing, I've still got mossy cobble, gravel, and andesite that I get to use in these mountains to provide some much needed texturing over this blank, boring stone. And that's what I'm doing right now, and you can see it's already making a huge difference. I'm trying to be really smart with my block placements. I'm really thinking about rules. For example, the moss only grows on flat sections. You don't see moss on like a sheer cliff face. It's only on these flat plateaus. house. The mossy cobble is a natural transition between moss and the gray block, so that's naturally going to be around the moss. And then for the cobble, gravel, andesite, and clay, these are kind of like our shading blocks, you know, so the clay is going to be where the most sunlight is directly hitting the rock faces, and then you kind of work your way down into the darker textures like the gravel and the cobblestone for when things are a little bit more in shadow. It's a lot of extra work and time to really get the texturing right. We're not just doing random, like, spin a wheel, random number generator texture mixing like people used to do back in the day, but it's looking so much better than that style ever could, and I'm very, very happy about that. With the basic terraining done, it was time to add in our first set piece to the landscape. With the amount of red, brown, and white blocks in this palette, I felt that a somewhat normal house would make sense. And surprisingly, it came together kinda quick. Is this the best looking house I've ever made? No, absolutely not. But what it is a house made of some really, really weird blocks. Like, I would never choose this palette on any given day. You can see I basically split it up into like 2 separate buildings, right? Like a house and a barn here, because it's almost like they were chosen on purpose to mess with me or something. But yeah, so I did my best and I think it came out okay. I mean, I kind of just default to these like Tudor house style designs, and this is hardly a Tudor house, what with the giant pool of slime and all of this, but I've tried my best, right? I've incorporated some custom foliage here, just kind of playing around with the existing 2 foliage blocks I have, which are of course the peonies and the chorus plants. So I was thinking that, you know, whoever lives in this house is some sort of gardener or botanist, and maybe they're making, I don't know, hybridizations of the native flora, right? Like they're taking different parts of these different plants and trying to grow them together to create some sort of weird hybrid chorus fruit peony things. And pumpkins, because, you know, pumpkins. The slime pool is really just there to look funny. As for the location of this build, it's right here, right on the edge of my giant landscape, because, you know, I don't want it to be a centerpiece, right? Like, I knew this house wasn't gonna look phenomenal, and I don't even really think a house truly fits the vibe of this landscape in the first place, so I kind of wanted to tuck it off to the side, but I think it looks pretty good. Like I said, not my favorite build, even with the restricted palette, but I think we'll come back to this later in the video. For now, though, it's time for more details. This landscape is nice, but it needs more set pieces other than this mid house that I just made. And since I'm not really feeling the whole man-made structures thing right now, let's throw in even more organics. Mushrooms, small rocks, this neat ice and glass waterfall thing, even more mushrooms, maybe a few more mushrooms. By this point, we've used a good 60 or 70% of all the blocks in the palette, which I'm really happy about. We're making great progress, but the remaining blocks are all of the weird ones, so this last 30% might drive me insane. Who knows? Okay, let me get you guys caught up, because a lot has happened. And it's not all bad, right? Like, check out these mushrooms. They're really stupid looking. I'm using TNT and white concrete powder in these mushrooms, but all things considered, they're kind of cool looking. I mean, yeah, ooh, missing dirt block. Like with the landscape, like with the flowers, like with the stupid house behind me, I'm working with what I've got, and the mushrooms are a product of that. So are they particularly amazing looking? No, that one's smushed in a wall for some reason, but I'm working with some very, very bizarre blocks here. I got TNT in my freaking mushrooms, man. Same thing applies to this whole water feature I've got over here. It's pretty beautiful. I gotta say, these lakes, the shape turned out fantastic. I kind of like this glass. I'm not gonna lie. It's mainly just there because I don't know where else to put a blue block other than in a water thing, but I guess it kind of makes sense to have frozen lakes at the top of a mountain, but then why is it a flowing river? Why is it coming around this way, going down here, and being ejected out the side of this cliff like a freaking dam or something? I don't know. And why is there lapis ore there? If you stare at this build for too long, you get a bunch of questions in your mind that really don't have answers, but I'm trying my best. What's not cool though is what's left in this block palette behind me, and the fact that I've been driving myself crazy trying to figure out what to do with this. I have a vague idea of what to do with the orange blocks. We'll get to those in a minute, but the other things here, command blocks, a piglin head, crying obsidian, the stupid DDR block glazed terracotta, like, this section was labeled no clue lol, and that's because I don't got a clue what to do with these. I've been racking my brain for almost an hour trying to figure out where to put any of these blocks. I don't know where to put them. These 4 were meant as like interior details, but that would require doing an interior for that stupid house. I'm not doing an interior for that. I'm just gonna leave this thing alone, but that means that I need to figure out what to do with the cake, a piglin head, a chain, and a fletching table. I guess we doing cake now. That'll have to do. Next problem. No trespassers. That's a little too stupid. Hold on, we gotta find something slightly better for these things. Oh, I know. He's getting slimed. Next problem. What's something I could like dangle? Can I make like a dangling sign somewhere? Aha. That's definitely something. Yep. I'll take it though. I'll take it though, because we're knocking not just 1, but 2 blocks off the list with the obsidian to hold this very janky looking bridge in place. Next problem. The polished blackstone buttons really shouldn't be too bad. I feel like these could be nice little details, like with these, mangrove roots and stuff at the bottoms of the mushrooms, just like kind of, I have to be a little careful not to put these next to any of the TNT, but I think other than that, they should be fine. These 5, I don't know what could I possibly do with these 5? If you, yes, you listening right now, if you were the one that suggested any of these 5 blocks, just know that you're causing me a lot of problems right now. I hope you're happy. You're driving me insane. Repeating command block, specifically the repeating one. It couldn't have been a different kind of command block. No, it had to be specifically the repeating one. How does it look underneath these chorus plants? It doesn't look terrible. They look kind of like little petals. Like if you ignore all the purple stuff, these little diagonal bits, they kind of look like small petals. Okay, I mean, it's hard to notice them. They're very subtle from a distance, but maybe that's what we had to do with these repeating command blocks anyways. Maybe subtle is the only way to make this stupid block work. Oh, and the crying obsidian can just, yeah. Why are they just beaming out of my forehead? What's up with that? Okay, 3 more weirdos to go. And yes, I know we've got all those orange blocks over there, but don't worry, guys. I've got plans for what to do with those, and we'll get to them in a little bit. I just want to clear up all this weirdness first, and then we can tackle my final super fun 69% zoom, super weird idea. It's like weird growths of bacteria and like clumps and stuff floating in the oh, that's disgusting. I love it. A group of piglins met their unfortunate end here. White glazed terracotta. Could be a nice little bit of decor maybe around this window. Yeah, that adds something to the build, I think. As for the glazed terracotta, the guy that lives here likes playing DDR. Let's go with that. And with that, guys, I'm done with my wise, intelligent, and artistically competent block choices. Fantastic. God, I want to gouge my eyes out with a spoon. It sounds horrible. Oh God, the slime pool's disgusting. We're over the hurdle. We got through most of this crap, and there's just 1 row of blocks remaining. And a fletching table, but that shouldn't be so hard. And what am I going to do with all these orange blocks, you might be wondering? Well, let's go take a look, shall we? So if you've seen the first block palettes made by my Discord server video, you might remember this build. I tried my best to make a stupid looking pumpkin out of entirely pumpkin blocks, and of course it turned out terribly, and it was all a good laugh and whatever, but I'm not gonna lie, ever since then, that stupid little pumpkin build, it's been sitting in the back of my mind, slowly just eating away at my brain or something. I can't stop thinking about this stupid pumpkin and how it actually made its way into a video. Yes, I had one block to work with. Yes, that block palette was terrible, but what in the world was that? That was just stupid. And not like haha funny stupid, like sad stupid. Well, it's been a while since that video, and I thought it would be kind of cool and interesting and strangely poetic in a way if I were to finish off this video by going back and doing some justice to that pumpkin. And for the longest time, I didn't really know how, but once I realized, as I was making this video, that the majority of the blocks I have remaining are orange blocks, then I knew what I had to do. Yeah, I made another stupid pumpkin. What did you expect? At least this one's marginally better looking. I mean, I actually used a real, Minecraft render of a carved pumpkin and not just freehanded some crap out of my own memory. Like this, the blocks are not great. It's got actual pumpkins in it. It's got terracotta and concrete and acacia planks and all sorts of weird crap at the top there. But all things considered, it could be a lot worse. And it's right here in the middle of the build where there was this large open area with absolutely nothing in it. Ignore that other large open area with absolutely nothing in it. I'm too lazy to put anything there. This large open area with absolutely nothing in it, though, now has several pumpkins in it of varying degrees of quality, but hey, that's something. We have now used every single block that my Discord server has forced me to build with the intention of driving me completely insane, as you can see by the past couple videos, and man, am I happy to finally be done with this project. But in all seriousness though, this was actually a really, really fun experiment. I'm really glad I put this together, really glad that you guys took the time to come up with these wacky block combinations, and most importantly, I'm really glad that the builds, turned into something. Like, I split this idea up into two, and I was worried there for a while that I was gonna get too distracted by Skyblock Kingdoms and just kind of forget about it or scrap the idea or whatever, and I'm really, really glad that I committed to the bit and finished off this video concept, because you guys deserve to have me follow through on this idea that we've all collectively created together. For this build specifically though, like this landscape, it kind of rules. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of awesome. And sure, it's not great. In an ideal world, I would go and add a bunch more blocks and stuff. It's certainly missing a lot of textures and a lot of details, but all things considered, I think it turned out pretty well. And I hope you guys are enjoying these cool, cinematic shaders shots of the landscape and all its beautiful half-finished, half-baked glory and everything. All goes to say, guys, I had a good time with these past couple videos. And yes, I was driven a little insane in the process, but what's a little bit of insanity between friends, right? It's all good, guys. It's all good. But I think that's about all the video time we've got for today, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like down below. And if you're not subscribed, consider doing so as well. I'd really appreciate it. These videos take a long time to make, especially when I procrastinate them for a week. And until next time, y'all, this has been Leon, and I'll see you guys in the next Minecraft video.